Good morning, everyone. We're really excited to have you join us today for the webinar. We're going to be starting in just a minute. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to have you with us today for our webinar on driving ROI by amplifying influencer content. Today we are joined, my name is Paul Kahn, I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales here at Upfluence. There's a link to my LinkedIn here, so if you want to connect, please join me there. Really excited today to have Logan Wellbaum with us, who is the founder at Play. Logan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Play?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Logan, I'm the founder of Play. We're streaming live on TikTok right now to our 200,000 followers too, so it's definitely exciting here. But I left Facebook and Google to create Play. I actually worked on a lot of the ad products there that many of you use today, and I just saw how difficult it was for small businesses to have success with Facebook ads and Google ads. So Play's here to really democratize digital marketing and make it easy for anyone. And we'll get more into that later, but yeah, really excited about this convo today.
All right, well, thank you so much, Logan. And I'm also joined by my colleague from Upfluence, Adam Shapiro. Hey, Adam, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Adam. I'm the head of product marketing and strategic partnerships here at Upfluence. I've been working in online marketing and building out strategic partnerships for about 6 years now. In addition to being responsible for building out Upfluence's partnerships with innovators like Play, I also routinely interview Upfluence's various clients. And so we've distilled the main takeaways of what I've learned into this conversation today, and are looking forward to sharing the tactics for increasing your influencer return on investment with all of you. So welcome.
All right, we are so today what we're going to talk about is how you drive ROI using influencer content, and by how you do it, how you can do that by using amplification. What is influencer marketing 2.0 and why amplification is a huge part of that, and what some of the tools are and best practices to be successful at it. And then we're also, because we think this is a really great potential conversation, we're trying to leave some time to do some Q&A at the end. So I just want to take an opportunity to introduce who we are here at Upfluence. We develop smarter technology to help you decode influencer marketing. We're a global influencer marketing leader. We were founded back in 2013. We have offices all over the world, and we have many users, and we have experience in multiple different industries. And so that's who we are here. And Logan, I know you talked a little bit about what Play does, but can you give us just the elevator idea of why everyone should have Play ready to go?
Yeah, so like I said, digital marketing is always changing. Facebook ads and Google ads, there's always something new coming out. And just to be able to technically implement all these things, it requires specialized roles, specialized agencies even, and it's hard for business owners. So that's why we created Play. It's like a digital marketing team in your pocket. Things like launching expert Facebook ads, expert Google ads, YouTube ads, even TikTok ads, like a pro in just a few taps is exactly what Play does. So we really make it so you don't have to have a lot of experience launching digital marketing campaigns. We put our best practices into Play, working at Google and Facebook, and we have to optimize your campaigns for you. And there's also you can find trends in Play, and you can find insights by your customers. So it's like a digital marketing team in your pocket.
That's great. Okay, and one thing that's really exciting is, and actually I'm going to play one of the videos from your TikTok, Logan. But we have a partnership. Adam, can you talk a little bit about the partnership, and then I'll play the video?
Yeah, for sure. For all the reasons that Logan just mentioned when we first spoke, I knew that Play was a company that we wanted to partner with. They're an innovator in the space and are making powerful digital marketing features available at a fraction of the typical cost. So Upfluence is now powering basic influencer search within Play through a custom-built API. So helping their users find creators who could be a fit for the campaigns that they manage through the Play app. We've got a quick video, as Paul mentioned, that we'd like to share with you that kind of showcases this integration in more detail and is something that we're looking to build out with other various partners as well.
All right. So, and by the way, make sure you give a follow to Play on TikTok, because you'll see a lot of this good stuff. But here we go. All right, and we have another video, but I think in the interest of time, we're going to keep moving. But it's all great, and it's all on the Play.
Yeah. So in essence, you can find influencers in 15 seconds, and we can talk more about it later.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sometimes the videos just have a mind of their own. Okay. So we talk about this a lot. We're on the 1 year anniversary of the pandemic. And it's been a year like no other, or at least a 1 year anniversary. I think we're very close to the 1 year anniversary of when we closed the office in New York at Upfluence. So it feels like that. And 2020 really changed everything, right? Everyone needed to come up with new ways to exist in the world, new ways to make their way. And it led to a lot of trends that are really accelerations of pre-existing trends. So number one, there was a 44% increase in how much money people spent online last year. I mean, that's giant. Yes, that's been the trend. It's been where we've been heading, but it just continued and it sort of went in an extremely high way. The second thing is that influencer marketing became more and more ROI driven. And we were able to show people how they're able to make influencer marketing work for them. And because of that, you see all sorts of businesses, not just traditional businesses, online businesses, e-commerce businesses, really increasing their influencer marketing budgets. But in addition, 68% of marketers are still using paid digital channels. So what we want to talk to you about is how do you sort of merge those two in terms of the best practices so that you can be utilizing your influencer marketing and your paid dollars in a really smart way. So that brings us to the first question. You've launched an influencer campaign. Now what, right? So the first thing to think about is influencer marketing 1.0. I've been doing influencer marketing for quite a few years here at Upfluence. You can remember back in the day, you would have an influencer just post an image or a video. The post maybe received 30% of their audience. And it really fades after about 24 hours, right? The impact is big when you first get it, but how do you keep that momentum? It didn't really work the same. So then you would just, maybe try to get someone else to do an unboxing video or something like that to keep the momentum. But it was always, it was more about getting lots and lots of people to sort of mention your brand and get it out there. But now we can do this in a much more targeted way and a much more efficient way, which leads us to influencer marketing 2.0. So Logan, can you give us a sense of what brands should really be thinking about nowadays in terms of influencer marketing?
Right. So you finally found your perfect influencer. They made a post. It's doing good within the first 24 hours, and then it kind of just falls off a cliff like any social media post. That's kind of what happened in influencer marketing 1.0. And influencer marketing 2.0, we're able to increase this post longevity in two different ways. So you'll see this image here with Kevin Hart and how Fabletics worked with Kevin Hart. So let me just real quick talk about what it is, and I'll talk about like why we really need to move over to this 2.0 method. So this first image right here where Kevin Hart's doing with Fabletics is reusing that content from Kevin Hart and marketing it on their own Facebook page. And this image on the right, this is called whitelisting an influencer. And Fabletics is actually running their ads through Kevin Hart's personal Instagram account. And the results that you'll see through this are astronomical. And we'll talk more into like technically how you can do this. but you can just see already, like there's already there's a clear call to action. There's a shop now button. Anyone who's done influencer marketing before, you know, like you might have sent an influencer like a UTM link and they might have put it in their bio for 24 hours and they just had to remove it. But with this, it's editable. There's a clear call to action, so you can have these shop now buttons and send people directly to that product page. It increases the post longevity, right? Just it's Facebook and Google have implemented this almost pay to play model at this point, where even if an influencer a normal post, it might only reach 50% of their audience. With branded posts, it's typically a lot less. Even around 30% of their audience will see a branded post. So this is maximizing your influencer campaign. And then also, it's built to drive ROI because you don't have to pay a graphic designer, a copywriter, a videographer to remake new content for you. You can just use this content that's already proven to work right within your ads, and you can get started with $10 a day. Not only that, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and not only that, but you can reach targeted audiences with this. So you can, if you whitelist an influencer's account, you can target that influencer's followers to reach more of their followers, and then also you can create lookalike audiences from that. From, like, for example, Kevin Hart's. You can create a lookalike audience in Facebook off of Kevin Hart's followers to reach a really low-hanging fruit audience. To boost conversions and reach a new audience. So definitely influencer marketing 2.0.
And Logan, you're bringing up 3 points around ROI that I think are extremely important here. The first is you're saving money, right? By doing this, you're saving money that you would be spending on other people doing this work by leveraging the great content that the influencers are already creating. Mm-hmm. Number two, the shop now, the being able to really put those calls to action in place will drive conversions. We all know this as working online. The simpler path to a sale, the better. And the third thing is the ability to find similar audiences. This is one thing that is sort of near and dear to our hearts, right? And we can talk about it a little bit later, but not only restricting yourself to people who already are following an influencer, but really giving them that ability to leverage their own brand to other people is really a powerful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely, like if you even just post, for example, like if you just post this, like let's say Kevin Hart posted this in a week ago, he might have removed that Fabletics link to actually buy the insurance. So it's just so difficult for a user to actually go type in Fabletics and actually make the purchase. So exactly, it's decreased the amount of steps to purchase.
But this is also really good for the influencers, right? And I want you to tell us why it's a virtuous kind of deal for the influencers as well.
Yeah. So again, Facebook and Google have both implemented this pay-to-play model. Like even if you just go to Google search right now, you'll see 5 paid search listings before you even get to the organic. And this is helping influencers reach some of their audience that they might not have connected with for months. So it's helping them gain words, and it's kind of becoming the norm as well. So you can see Kevin doing it with Fabletics. And it just boosts their organic reach. So it really benefits them too. And when they feel supported and benefited, they're more likely to create more content, and it just creates a great partnership together with them.
But and just to be clear here, obviously Kevin Hart is a huge influencer, but he's also a celebrity. But this also helps smaller influencers probably even more, right? Because they don't have the name recognition yet.
Yeah, definitely. This is built for definitely the smaller influencers because they're having trouble reaching their audience too. And it works across the board. Small micro influencers who have 5,000 followers all the way up to 100,000, even up to 5 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adam, what were you going to add to that?
Yeah, just one thing I'd like to mention is that part of what I do at Upfluence, as I said earlier, is have frequent conversations with our top performing clients to kind of learn what's working for them. And I can confirm everything that Logan just said. Influencers are typically very excited that their content is going to be amplified, especially those micro influencers who are looking to continue to build their brand and their channel. More followers means more potential revenue for them, so they're invested as well. The brands who've had influencers join their campaigns. Sometimes they just join because they've heard that the content is going to be amplified with paid ads. It's a great selling point for your brand and something that you should definitely use when you're reaching out to and negotiating with influencers, because it could also differentiate you from the competition who might not be doing this sort of amplification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everybody's happy when the sales get made, right? So many influencer contracts that are out there right now are moving more toward an affiliation model. So this is sort of like helping them to close more sales and things like that. So it's all about driving ROI, and it's all about driving ROI for everybody in the equation, the brand, the influencer, and for the customer, right? Putting the right product in front of the right customer is a huge win for everybody. Okay. So, and this is why it's the best approach. So Logan, you put this together, right? So can you talk us through some of these numbers that you found at play about why this works so well?
Yeah, one of the main things is that using influencer content can actually lower your ad cost. And there's two metrics around this. One is ad relevancy, and the other is quality score. And why this is so important is that Google and Facebook want to show the best ad to the best customer, because when they do that, the customer might click on the ad and it goes to your website and they find a new product from your website and they make a purchase. Then you as the advertiser or brand might say, wow, Facebook ads or Google ads is actually working. And then you're going to invest more into Google and Facebook. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. And when everyone's winning, Google and Facebook want to show your ad above some other ads that aren't performing as well. And it's almost like a game. When you do that, your ad costs can be lower. And one of the reasons why it's lowered is that you can see that it has a 5 times higher click-through rate. So Google and Facebook are finding, again, going back to like the quality score metric, going back to the ad relevancy metric, when people are finding these ads more engaging, Facebook and Google will want to show those ads way more often. And it will reward you in the long term. Things like, and when you're scaling up, this is extremely important to have lower ad costs. So not only will it help you have lower ad costs, it's just 100% authentic. It's real. You're able to reach 2 times the audience reach. Remember, for typical branded posts, an influencer might only reach 30% of that audience. And just having this lower ad costs, when everything's working together, it's really going to help you out. And the digital marketing engine, like Facebook ads, are carved for good content and content. So this is also built into how it can really drive ROI for you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Google and Facebook want people to want to click on things. They get more revenue from it. They get people who are happier being on Google and Facebook and other places. And being able to, I like that phrase, gamify it, right? Just imagine if you're working on an e-commerce platform or you're working in e-commerce, lowering your ad spend by 30% in small margin industries could be huge. And it's really something that you should be aiming to do and looking towards.
Yeah. One thing I'd just like to echo again is that the authenticity factor is huge. You know, the ads are authentic content with basically a testimonial built in, and that really resonates with audience. They can tell the difference between, you know, authentic content, and they just appreciate it more than sometimes generic ads. You know, the brands that I speak with who have tested these types of paid advertisements have seen some great results. So I highly suggest everyone out there, you know, do some A/B testing and see for yourselves.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about another piece of this, which is, you know, when you are using the same images over and over again, people start to recognize them. And, you know, we have to talk about planting the seed. This is an example of someone talking about something over and over again. This is one of my favorite commercials. This is one of the first Air Jordan commercials from back in the day. This features Spike Lee and Michael Jordan. And so I'm going to let it go. Okay, We show that commercial for a very specific reason, which is the repetition. And one of the things that this amplification can let you do is get that repetition going. I kind of want to go buy a pair of Air Jordans right now after watching that. So, Logan, you have some thoughts on repurposing and why it's so important. Can you talk those through a little bit?
Yeah, it's all about the shoes. It's all about the shoes. It's all about the shoes. So, Spike Lee, they were just saying it exactly like the commercial. So on average, it takes about 7 different touch points or interactions with your brand before someone buys. And if you think about it, like when you're booking an airline ticket, you might research some prices or even some places on your mobile phone. You might go over to Facebook and kind of you might even see an ad for the Bahamas or something like that. Then you might go back to desktop and Google search and say, okay, now I'm actually ready to make the purchase. So we've been talking a lot about how you can amplify content to reach new customers, but you can also use it for remarketing. And remarketing is one of the best ways to amplify influencer content, because you're able to reach people who already know about your brand and just hit them with these extra touch points. So that's one of the best ways to use and amplify influencer content. And we'll get more into these strategies in the next section. But also, great content doesn't date. It doesn't get old. It's fresh. And sometimes a lot of digital marketers, I hate to say it, but they'll just use images from Shutterstock. And when you're using influencer content and able to reuse that quality content, your ad will stand out, and it's great for trust building, social proof. And if you have this great content, that can increase these 7 touch points. Maybe you're only able to have 2, 3, or 4 if you're able to have that quality content and build that brand.
Yeah, and Adam, I know that you've spoken to some of our folks on this stuff. Do you have something that has come true as a basic message there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the spirit of repetition, honestly, these types of ads can be very impactful for your company, your influencers, and for your audience. You can reuse this content in a variety of different ways, not just paid ads, but you can put it on your website, in your email outreach, really anywhere across your entire marketing strategy. I mean, even here at Upfluence, some of our most effective paid ads or links that we track in our emails to our prospects and our clients are these testimonials and are the content that we produce together with some of our clients. And so there's a really wide variety of ways to reutilize this content and get the most bang for your marketing dollars. That's where the ROI comes from, is when you repurpose it, reuse it, and you build that repetition around the internet and in front of your audience.
Okay.
Yeah, like having that first influencer campaign might be a great first touch point, but repurposing it and amplifying it will help you get those other touch points.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have some ideas around some of the ways that you can do that here. So Adam, I think this came from some of your conversations as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically the same sort of thing, where this content that these influencers are generating for you, and we're going to talk about making sure you find the right influencers that will produce the content that is most engaging for your target audience. But once you find that, and if you have the analytics to measure that, which we'll talk about in a moment, you can again just reuse it in a wide variety of ways across your entire content strategy, from amplifying through paid, through even in sales calls, sales pitches, demos, amplifying your brand awareness, and really social proof also. There's social proof built into these ads and built into this content. When you have, influencers who, yes, you're typically paying with them or giving them product or something to talk about, but when you find a match between your brand and your values and your mission and the influencer and those of their audience, then that, it comes across very authentic, as we talked about before, and it can be very effective when you're building in this type of content and reusing it around your marketing strategy. You'll see some really great engagement numbers. So again, just don't take our word for it. Do some A/B testing, and I'm sure you'll see what we've seen.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about this. How would one even get started? Right. It's a big world out there. So we want to give you some really specific ideas about ways that you can get started in this entire process. So what is the best way to get started? Logan, why don't you take it first?
Yeah, I see so many questions about this in the chat, so I'm really excited to get here. Where you want to first start out is use Upfluence to find the best influencers. It's they have the best matching system that I've seen. So use Upfluence to find the best influencers for your brand. Once you have those influencers, there's 3 key ways that you can work with them, and we talked about it. The first way is running ads through your using influencer content after they launch their campaign, using that influencer content and promoting it through your own social handles. So you can use your own Facebook page, your own Instagram account, your own YouTube channel. This way is fast, it's pretty easy, and it's great for A/B testing because you don't need to work with an influencer to get approval. You don't need to work with them to get rules. The second way is whitelisting the influencer, and this is by far proven to show the best results that I've seen. And what you can do is it might take a few back and forth emails with this influencer, and they have to have a Facebook ad account, a Facebook business account. But what you do is once they're able to whitelist you, and all it is they're really adding you as a admin to their Facebook page or to their Instagram page. And once they do that, you have access to their audiences, and you can make you can launch ads from their specific Facebook page. So really, I'd probably say it takes an hour or 2 to actually get this done. And I would reserve this for your top tier influencers. These are the influencers that will promote good content and have a pretty good sized following as well. So I would reserve that for them. But once you have that, you're able to not only make audiences around people who have saved their posts, on people who have messaged them, make audience around people who have followed them, but you can also make lookalike audiences around their followers. And this is the lowest hanging fruit. And then also, we showed the image with Kevin Hart, but yeah, like Paul said, it doesn't have to be such a big influencer. You can do this with micro influencers and run ads through their account. The click-through rate, the lower ad cost, it is insane. The amount of results that you can get from whitelisting their account. And it probably take 2 hours max to actually get the approvals and get everything set up on the back end. But then once it's in, you can create audiences all day long and run ads through their account. The third way is with Instagram and Facebook's and even TikTok's now, their branded content tool. This usually only works with one post, with like a single post. So I don't recommend it that much. It is pretty easy, but you really only boost that post. So again, it's running ads through your own Facebook page or your own Instagram page, or your own YouTube channel, or even your own TikTok account. The second way is whitelisting. I think that's the best way to do it. It does take a little bit of heavy lifting. The third way is the branded content tool, and that's usually only good for one post. So I would definitely recommend one of the first 2 because you're able to repurpose their campaigns, and you can use snippets and stills from that influencer marketing campaign. So what that means is, okay, let's say someone sends you a video, an influencer sends you a video. You can edit that video by chopping it up a little bit. You can take images from that and run image ads. You can A/B test the call to action. You can test the design, and you can change up the content. So this is really kind of how you put all this into practice.
Yeah, and so there's a lot to unpack there, right? But the basic concept of getting the influencer buy-in, and as we spoke about before, this is a great thing for the influencers. So it's not as complicated a negotiation as you might think, especially for those smaller influencers. Obviously, getting Kevin Hart's approval is going to go through his people at whatever whoever represents him and things like that. And so, as Logan said, there's some negotiation involved, but there's a huge payoff on the other side.
Yeah, and whitelisting, I would typically work that into the contract in the front end. Sometimes it does cost a little extra, but that ROI that you'll get from that, it is so worth it. But you definitely want, I just see a question here in the chat, that's why I'm answering that. But yes, it is, you do need approval, and sometimes it is separate, sometimes it's included, but you definitely want to chat and have a good relationship with that specific influencer for whitelisting.
And one thing, and I I should have mentioned this before. We do have a spot for Q&A at the end. So please, we see all these great questions coming in, and we're going to work really hard to get to as many of them as we can at the end. But Logan, feel free to answer anything as you see it. That's fine. And Adam, in terms of this, we see our clients working in this way as well, and the contracting is important. But are there other pieces that people should have in mind?
I would say it really comes down to finding the best influencers to work with for your brand is going to make this whole process much easier and more streamlined, from the negotiations to the potential purchase of rights to their content for whitelisting and everything like that. If you have a system and a way to find influencers and make sure that the content that they're creating that's resonating with their audience matches up with your company, your vision, and what you're looking to accomplish with your campaign, you're going to have a much more frictionless process of negotiating and onboarding these influencers to work with you. And so I'm a big believer in that it really stems from there. And if you can find the right influencers to work with and have a system to do so, then the rest of the process is going to be much easier. You're going to create more engaging content on the back end that's going to resonate with your audience because it matches, and then you'll see the ROI that we're talking about. Well,
and that makes perfect sense. And so this is an example of a couple, and Logan, I know you said there's like 20,000 things we can talk about on this one slide alone, but can you give us a sense of what is really important here?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, it's like, which one would you click on? Would you click on this ad where it's just the product with, a nice like Arctic looking background, or would you click on the ad where an influencer has their face and they're holding it up and maybe even giving a better description of the product? So it really boils down to that, like, which would you click on? And this is kind of a real life example of how you can see the 5-time grade on the ad on the right where an influencer is actually holding that product, and how that can lower your ad cost versus versus just the product with no real context behind it. This speaks to authenticity as well. So I think that's really what it boils down to, like, which of these would you click on?
Yeah, that authenticity piece is just huge. It is the thing that people like about influencer marketing, is that authenticity, and you really want to make sure that you're leveraging that. Okay, so Adam, you spoke about this a little bit before, right? How important it is to find the right influencers for you. So can we go over a couple of ways that brands can really leverage the right influencers for them?
Yeah, absolutely. And just a warning, this is the Upfluence shameless plug section of the webinar. But honestly, it really comes down to having a system to find the best influencers for your brand is really crucial. Now, at Upfluence, we provide an easy way to search through millions of influencers to find the one who align with your company values, are talking about the types of things and producing the type of content that you're looking for, and most importantly, will get you in front of your exact target audience. We provide access to analytics around an influencer's audience, such as breakdowns of their different age segments, the sex, male or female, their engagement rate, the location of their followers. And so this allows you to make data-backed decisions, most efficiently spend your marketing dollars, and work with creators whose amplified content is going to be the most effective for converting your target audience. Additionally, we've integrated with some industry leaders, especially in the e-commerce space, Klaviyo and Shopify. And we now offer our clients the ability to analyze really any email list through our influencer matching tool. Basically, this is a unique way to uncover influential contacts who are already engaged with your brand and inside your ecosystem, right? So we empower you to quickly analyze a customer or email subscriber list and surface all the people who are potentially influential on that list in terms of having a large audience on social media. Since these people are already familiar with your company, our studies have shown that they're much more likely to produce engaging, authentic content for you at a highly discounted rate, or simply even in exchange for product. So, imagine you look at a segment of customers over the last year, or everyone subscribes to your newsletter, and you can say, okay, of these 5,000 people, 500 of them actually have followings of over 10,000 on Instagram. We can help you find those people, in addition to sort through our database of 4.5 million other influencers. And with the audience analytics that we provide, you can just make sure that you're going to be spending money to get in front of the people that you need to. And as we just talked about before, I really believe that that's where it starts. If you can find these right influencers, you're spending money in a smart way, and you're working with people and influencers who can build a long relationship with, and you're producing content that you can reuse and is going to be effective across really all of your different marketing channels. It's a very scalable model.
Yeah, and one thing about the influencer matching that's amazing is you're going to have people who are going to be excited that you want to amplify them. What, you want me to do a program for you? I go to your store. I buy these things already. I'm excited to, or maybe I already follow you on Instagram. So even that process that Logan was describing in terms of getting an influencer on board with doing a whitelisting, is going to be phenomenally simpler using those influencer matching tools. And we also have a custom data squad that can look at all manner of different things as well, whether that's your Instagram followers and things like that. So let us know if you're interested in something like that. Okay, and you can also see, and we mentioned it before, in our partnership with Play, we have the ability to discover a certain number of influencers every day, which is really exciting as well, to help you get your influencer marketing campaign started. So we're also looking at that, and we're very excited by that. So
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Now, a couple of reminders. And Logan, you spoke about this a little bit, but in terms of if you're thinking about moving toward paid amplification, it helps you right at the beginning of the process to sort of make sure that you get these boxes checked, right? You don't want to be sitting there and somebody says, "Hey, I didn't give you permission to do this," or anything like that. So as you mentioned, if you're looking at doing whitelisting, put that in a contract. It's very simple. There's really simple influencer contracts that we can certainly help you with here at Upfluence. And also make sure you're protecting that influencer. If they're giving you their trust, make sure that you're not going to take something out of context or make them say things or do things that they wouldn't say. Influencers have brands too, and that's really important. And one of the reasons that finding the right influencer really helps you is when their brand is in alignment with your brand, but you want to make sure that you're protecting their brand. These people have worked a long time to build up their following, and you want to make sure that you're keeping them safe as well. All right, there's your the vegetables. Okay. Now, in terms of tracking, we talked about A/B testing. We talked about tracking all of these various sales and why it's so ROI positive. And Logan, can you give us a little sense of some of the best practices when you're doing these paid amplifications so that you know what you're doing?
Yeah. So in influencer marketing 1.0, UTMs were absolutely essential, right? You would add the source, you would add the medium, so you would kind of give them that an influencer that link. They would put it in their bio. You could see that result in Google Analytics if you have that on your website. But with influencer marketing 2.0, since we're using Facebook ads and Google ads, you definitely want to have that Facebook pixel on your website and the Google ads conversion tracking tag on your website. And I've made videos about this. So if you use Wix, if you use Squarespace, if you use Webflow, even Shopify, with these integrations, it's literally one step to add these. But even before you start amplification, you can get these on your site. No technical experience required. I've made videos about this like on our TikTok and Instagram where I've done it in 15 seconds. It's a few taps of a button to make it very simple. And why you want to do this is because not only can you track which ads are driving the conversions or which of your amplified content is driving conversions, but it'll help you with the A/B test. And you can say, okay, this shop now call to action is not as working as well as this learn more call to action, or this starting screen needs to be changed a little bit. It also helps you optimize your landing page as well once you have this Google ad, once you have this Google Analytics on your page. And this will also help you lower your ad costs. I think and also increase your ROI, right? Like if you have your landing page working together, if you have your ads working together, and your targeting working together, which once you have this tracking, you'll be able to see it easily. That's what will lower your ad costs. So again, it's really, really simple to add this Facebook pixel in a few taps. If you want to learn more, check out our TikTok or Instagram of how to actually do that. It's very simple though.
And once again, we're going to make sure that we have links to Play's TikTok and Instagram available for you so that you can follow, because it's a really cool channel. All right. And what we're going to do now is we wanted to leave a lot of time. We saw a lot of questions coming up through the chat, and we're going to try something new today, which is that we have someone who's going to actually pop the questions up for us, and we'll answer them. Please keep asking questions. We want to leave a lot of time because we know we went over a lot of good stuff today. So while we're waiting for that, Adam, do you have anything you want to add as we're heading into QA?
Yeah, absolutely. Just for that last slide, we live in a data-driven world these days, especially for everyone who's on this webinar in the online space. Everything that we do now is able to be tracked. And so if you don't have a system set up, like Logan mentioned, to really measure the effectiveness of the different ads that you're running or the different marketing strategies that you're implementing, you're leaving money on the table, right? And so as we've discussed before, like finding the right influencers to work with and knowing who's going to produce for you is hugely important. But if you don't have a system in place to understand that, then you're really kind of behind the 8 ball here. And so, at Upfluence, basically what we do is allow our clients to integrate with, again, major players like Shopify to bulk create discount codes or affiliate codes for the influencers that they work with, set up affiliate links, and then track the performance of which influencers are producing content that's leading to revenue. And then you know who to pursue, who to build longer term relationships with, whose content is going to be most effective for you to amplify. So you're just making the smartest decisions possible, and you're not leaving money on the table. If you find ways to track this, and a lot of them are complimentary and free and easy to set up. So definitely watch Logan's and Play's Instagram and TikTok. I've been on there. I've learned a lot of great things. Or book a conversation with us as well. Our team knows all about it and is happy to help.
All right. I see that we have the first of our questions here. And it is from, I think I'm going to say Eve, but Eve, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I apologize. Hey, does this work in other countries, or is it only for the USA? So Logan, can you do whitelisting and all this good stuff all over the world?
Yeah, it's global, especially the first strategy, branded content tool. Remember the 3 strategies. So the first strategy, yes, because you're just using your Facebook page and your own Instagram handle as well. The second strategy for whitelisting, yes, because you're basically just asking their permission. And I see a lot of questions about technical too, so I'll answer that hopefully later. And then the third is the branded content tool. The branded content tool, I'm not sure if that's rolled out globally for Facebook, but that's just honestly, I don't even recommend that one that much because you're only allowed to boost a single post. Strategies, whitelisting, and actually just repurposing the content, promoting that on your own Facebook ads and Google ads. Yes, that's global.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning also that at Upfluence, our network of influencers that you can discover is global as well. So we have clients across the world, really.
Okay, and I think I'm not sure that that's actually a question, but it is a comment that we should all be doing A/B testing, which I absolutely agree with. So I'm gonna take one of the technical questions that Logan was talking about, and we'll show that one. So Cecilia asked, "How do you set this up on the back end? I tried doing it on Facebook Ads Manager platform directly, and it didn't work contacting the influencer's Facebook Manager and our brand's ad manager." So it sounds like, yeah. You want to take this one, Logan?
Yeah, so I'd say one, I'd have to kind of see like a little bit more details, but one way if it's not working, I think one of the best things that you can do is if that influencer already has their Facebook ad account set up, I actually have made like a quick video about this also, but you can easily have them create an audience, right? So you can have them create the audience in their own Facebook ad account, and then it would be an audience of, you know, people who have followed me and people who have commented on a post. They can create that audience and then share it with your own Facebook ad account, and then you can run ads through your Facebook page or your Facebook or your Instagram handle. So that's kind of like a workaround. If there is having troubles, you can share, and that influencer can share that audience with you that you can target and still be coming from your account. For whitelisting, you
I think we're losing Logan a little bit.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Facebook, if the influencer has their Facebook Business Manager account and their Facebook ad account set up, you can basically, like, they request you as access, and then you can get approval. And it should be just as simple as that. It's basically adding you as a admin on their Facebook account. Once you have that, then you have access to their Facebook page to run it. So maybe you want to feel free to message me on that, like, personally, but it should be just as simple as that.
Okay. And so this is always an evergreen question, and it's sort of something that we chatted about a little bit, but how can we work with the influencers to create that authentic branded content? And do you think the current influencer branded content is authentic? So Adam, why don't we talk a little bit about how we can help with that in terms of what we do here at Upfluence?
Yeah, so I think it's about really understanding and having an easy way to look through an influencer's past content and also measure the effectiveness of that content and understand the reach that it has, how many impressions it's getting, how many audience interactions it's getting, which is not information that you have access to typically if you're just exploring or looking at their posts on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, right? So if you have a system in place to be able to understand which types of posts a influencer gets the most engagement on, then you can work to build content with them that you know is going to resonate with their audience, right? So it's really just about having a tool to be able to understand what resonates with an influencer's audience, and does that match up with the type of content I want to produce, and is that the audience that I want to get in front of? So if you can accomplish that goal and, you know, have a system to analyze that sort of information, then you can choose to work with influencers who you know are going to build the most authentic content for you.
And I just want to add one other bit to that, which I think is really important, which is campaign briefs. If you have a place where you want to go, make sure you're spending some time thinking about what your goals are. Talk about the aesthetics you're looking for at the beginning of the process. Talk about the aesthetics you're looking for, lay out the expectations to the influencer, including whitelisting. And then in Upfluence, our workflow tool also allows you to look at the drafts that an influencer wants to post online. Because they're doing it for you and in your name, it's really important to have that bit of quality control and to really focus on making sure that the quality of the content is high enough and that it's really pushing the same message that you want to as a brand. Okay. All right. We got a question from Sloan Grossberg. Can you explain how amplification on Google works? Does the influencer need to provide account permissions like in Facebook or Instagram? Logan, I'm going to let you take this one.
Yeah, so this would specifically be for YouTube. Google Ads, there's no really handle like on Google Search or Google Display. There's no real handle, right? Like the main handle is just going to your website. You can use an image of the influencer and it still go to your website. So the best way to do this is on YouTube. And how you do that is, even on like YouTube, it doesn't really show that person's like image like it would on Facebook or Instagram. Like there's no like real profile image on YouTube ads. But what you would do is that you would simply let the influencer know after they post their YouTube video that, hey, we want to use this in our ads. And it's very simple. You just copy that URL and then you would use that in your Google ad campaign. So it's actually a lot simpler than Facebook or Instagram. You just would use that URL that they posted their video on, and you would just run that through your own Google Ads account. So no approval is really needed for YouTube. Okay.
Okay. And let's, I think Cecilia had a question, Cecilia Bolson. Curious if you have tried A/B testing the ad coming from the influencer's handle versus the brand's handle. So I think we're talking about like the Kevin Hart ad. Does that, for instance, does that perform better coming from the Fabletics side or from the Kevin Hart side?
Yes, we're going to include a stat on here, but the brand's handle, the actual influencer's handle is 10 times better. And I wish I need to get you a stat, Cecilia. I'm going to copy your name too. Maybe, I don't know if you're on Instagram or something, but I could send, but having it from the influencer's handle is just so real. It's more authentic, and it's like, okay, this person is just advertised, like it just makes sense to show an ad through that influencer's account. Authenticity is there, and it just looks like it's like they're just posting a normal post. So 100% showing that ad through the influencer's handle is the best way to do it. That's why hard things aren't always easy. That's why there's that extra step to do it. But having the influencer's handle is the best way.
And one thing that we are going to do for everybody who registered is we're going to send you these slides. And I think we just committed to creating an appendix to it. So we'll have a couple of new slides that we'll add before we send it out to everybody, because that's a great stat, and I want to make sure that everyone gets that. So, okay, perfect. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just looking through a couple of things. This is a good question here. So Kaylee Janelle asks, do the influencers have to have their Facebook and Instagram linked? Just thinking with some younger influencers who don't have Facebook, etc. So I think the question is, if you want to be doing a whitelisting an Instagram influencer, is it always going to be the case that their Instagram and their Facebook has to be linked?
Yes, yep, it has to be linked. Even to run, Instagram might have rolled out a new feature lately, but even to run just Instagram ads, even without going to the Facebook Ads Manager, they need to upgrade to that business account, and that business account is usually linked to their Facebook account. So they could set it up, and yeah, they definitely do. And like a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, but it really doesn't take more than, honestly, 10 seconds. They have their Instagram account, they upgrade to the business account. They will have to have that Facebook page. And short answer is yes.
Okay. All right. We have a question from Lainey. Still curious, so this is from the world of A/B testing, right? Which copy works best? Really long influencer captions or shortened versions that users don't need to sit and read for 10 minutes? Now, so we've all kind of looked at this. Adam, I know you've spoken to a lot of our clients about what types of things tend to convert better. So do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah. I feel like, Lainey, you maybe answered the question in the question, right? Like, if no one wants to sit there and read a caption for 10 minutes. But that being said, you want to make sure that the influencer also, you can distill down the basic information. Like in the post that you've seen that we've showcased, there are just a couple sentences and a call to action, right? Maybe the influencer is telling a little bit of their story that does add to that authenticity, so it can be important to have. But then also maybe some instructions on how to best use the product, or how they found the service and what they've used it for. Again, it kind of creates that testimonial vibe and that authenticity vibe that's going to lead to a higher performing content and better performing paid advertising. So there actually is a middle ground. You don't want to be, I think people will just skip over like an entire paragraph, just like, they're just scrolling and they're like, or see it on the side panel of a website they're visiting and they're like, I don't have time to read that. But if there's just a condensed paragraph that hits the main authentic points for that influencer, as well as the call to action, I think that's what you'll find to be most effective.
Okay. This is a point that's always important to everybody. So Justine asks, at Upfluence team, do you have a way to detect inflated engagement, i.e. through influencer pods? Yes. And Adam, you want to take this one?
Yep, that's a great question, and something I meant to touch on earlier. Actually, one of the analytics that we provide when you're looking through influencers in our platform is a real audience metric. We've developed the capability to sift through an influencer's followers and find out how many of those are bots or fake followers or potential pod behavior, right? And so by being able to understand an influencer's real audience, like if you know that they're 98% real versus another influencer who's 75% real and the costs are exactly the same, or the effort to work with them is exactly the same, who are you going to work with? You're going to work with the one that's going to get you in front of more real potential customers, right? So having an understanding and insight into that is incredibly important. And again, it's just not something that you typically have access to if you're just looking at an influencer's profile directly on their social media.
Yeah, and just to go one step further into the weeds on this, because it's one of my favorite bits, what we do here at Upfluence is we actually look at all of the engagements, and we're looking at their engaged audience, right? We want to make sure that those engaged audience people are real. And what that allows us to do is we look through that, and we have an entire AI and machine learning team here at Upfluence that's developed an algorithm that basically detects that naughty behavior really quickly. And so it's one of the things that we move and pay attention to. Okay, a couple more questions, and then unfortunately we're gonna have to get going, but we're having fun here. Oh, I lost my questions. All right. And we have another question about international. So how does the Upfluence influencer finder, target audience, age, etc., work outside of the US, let's say in Europe? So I'll take this one because we're running low on time here. But we were actually founded by our 4 co-founders are all French. So the European market is actually one of our strongest markets. We are a very international company. We have 3 offices in Europe, 2 in the United States. And so all of the tools work well all over the world. I'd say that the US is our largest market for influencers, followed by the European, I would say the European Union, but also the UK at this point. So Europe and the UK and all of that. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We'll try to respond to everybody in the chat because we have run a little bit low on time. But I want to take a moment to talk about a couple of things. So Adam, we spent a lot of time talking about our various partnerships and things like that. If we have someone who is interested in becoming a partner with us, can you talk them through what the options are?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something that I love to do is I'm always open to exploratory conversations. And so in this presentation, as well as in the chat, actually going to share my personal link to book some time with me if you think that your company could be a good partner for Upfluence. And there's a variety of ways that we like to work with people, right? We have one, of course, like Play, who's both a technology partner and as well as someone that we've integrated with. So if you're doing something innovative in the space, or if you have a need in your platform to potentially deliver influencer discovery, for example, or find ways to do social listening and ingest all the posts around a certain hashtag and their engagement metrics, that's something that we can power and offer for you. And so there's a variety of ways for us to intertwine our systems to create something that's unique and valuable that I would love to discuss with anyone who's interested. We also offer some simple type of partnerships around referring each other business. If you are working in a space where you potentially need influencers, but also a lot of other brands that might have needs related to influencer marketing, if you send them our way, and things work out, we'd be happy to share in that with you. And then there's deeper relationships around channel partnerships, which we tend to work with, where we will actually empower your sales team to resell the Upfluence software. So basically, a lot of different ways that we can work together, a lot of cool flexibility and power that we can provide. And again, I'd encourage anyone who just wants to have an exploratory chat to click the link that's going to be in the chat right now, or that'll also be in the presentation when we share it in the future.
Okay, and Logan, can you tell everyone how they can get Play working for them?
Yeah, so we learned why influencer marketing 2.0 is so important, And you can actually do what we talked about today in Play. Upload as many creatives as you want from your influencers. Play will take those and distribute them across TikTok, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and more in just a few taps. No experience required. You get started with just $5 a day, boosting this influencer content, getting more ROI from your content, and start actually implementing influencer marketing 2.0 right away. Takes care of a lot of the A/B testing for you too. So we just launched our desktop version, and yeah.
All right.
It's an awesome tool. Definitely check it out.
Definitely. Everyone should have it on their phone as well. And finally, we mentioned one of our favorite clients is Tish Hanley. And we had Joshua on a call with us a couple webinars ago, and he said anyone who's using a different platform than Upfluence doesn't understand influencer marketing. He said it, not me, but so we obviously like that one. And if anybody is interested in booking a personalized consultation with someone on the Upfluence team so that we can walk you through everything that we do in terms of our platform and all the various tools that are available, please feel free to book a personalized consultation with us. We'll have a link to that as well in this as we that we send out to you for the people who registered. I want to take this opportunity to thank Logan and Adam for their time today on this webinar. It's been a real pleasure to have this conversation with you all. And I want to thank all of you who came and joined us today and contributed to the conversation. As I said, we're going to try to get back to everybody in the chat at various points. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but I want to just say thank you, Logan. Thank you, Adam. And
great
goodbye.
to be here. Thanks.
And goodbye, everyone.